Are we live? I think we're live.
Welcome everyone, I'm Mark Manella.
Stephen Balance.
And this is More Than Money Ministries. We're glad you're with us today. You know, last week we started talking about the Debt Slayer Institute, which is one of the sub-ministries of More Than Money Ministries. We have 4 ministries and Debt Slayer is one of them. What we started talking about is why we did Debt Slayer, helping people to get out of debt, to be able to realize the fullness of God's blessings in their life so that they could actually enjoy their current lifestyle more, prepare for a better future lifestyle by eliminating lost lifestyle that comes from interest, expense, and debt. And we didn't really get too deep into it, but the whole idea of this is if people were better stewards of their money, were able to figure out a way to get out of debt and stay out of debt, they could do more with their money for themselves and for the kingdom. And that's the whole idea of what Debt Slayer is about. To take the frustration, the anxiety, the pain, the nuisance of debt off of somebody's shoulders. And we started last week by talking about, think about what it'd be like to be totally debt-free. No more phone calls, no more working day to day just to pay the man, you know, where you had control of your money again. And we're going to talk about that today. We're going to talk about where to start, how to do that, where to begin. You know, because everybody wants to know, how do I do this? It's great to talk about getting out of debt, but you have to be in debt in this day and age, that kind of stuff. But we know from a biblical perspective, that's not true. Even if you just didn't buy into 100% of what we're talking about, the whole idea that you may be in debt because of credit cards or other things. So we're going to help you today. We're going to give you some real insights, a little bit of meat to put on some of those bones. It all starts with a proper state of mind. And what is that? Well, first of all, to know that you can get out of debt, but don't confuse the objective with the method. I know I have a lot of problems with that. A lot of problems with that, all right. What's the problem?
It just seems like they're both the same thing to me sometimes.
Objective and the method?
Yeah.
Sometimes they may be, but the reality isn't. You know, for example, if you needed to go from St. Louis to New York, the objective is to get to New York as fast and efficient as possible. Spend the least amount of money, but still get there on time, as safely. So the objective is one thing. The method could be you could walk, you could crawl, you could take a plane, you could take a train, you could take a car, you could hitchhike, you could, you know, you teleport yourself if you were a Trekkie. But so, which objective makes sense? Well, obviously the plane might be more expensive than walking, but walking wouldn't get you there on time. So don't confuse the objective with the method. When it comes to debt, the same thing is true. Most people think the only way to get out of debt is to pour as much money as you can, as fast as you can towards your debt, and that's the only way you'll get out. Quite frankly, that's the number one reason nobody gets out of debt. But we'll talk about that more later.
All right.
Okay? Maintain the eagle's perspective. Last week we talked a little bit about the eagle's perspective compared to the kiwi perspective. You know, the kiwi is a bird in the Netherlands that runs around the grasslands. The kiwi is about this tall. The grass is about this tall. So they have very limited perspective on their environment. In fact, if there was a grass fire, oftentimes a kiwi will run into the fire because it smells smoke and it doesn't know which direction the fire is. Unlike an eagle who is hovering way up above, can look down and see the kiwi over on one side and can see the grass fire north of it, can see the lake to the east and can see the bear to the west, you know, can see all this and can make better decisions from that eagle's perspective, that 30,000-foot perspective where it takes in all aspects of the financial landscape there. So that's very important. And the third state of mind, and this is if you don't take anything else away from this little 15 minutes we have together, credit is not your friend. I know you're thinking, Mark, credit is my friend. It helped me get my car. It helped me get my credit cards. It helped me, I don't know, get so buried in debt I can't pay my bills. Credit is not your friend. Let me explain. There's really little difference between the credit industry and the illegal trade industry. I'm going to set this up a little bit. This might take a little aside here, but imagine how do people get started on drugs? I mean, Do they just go out and say, hey, I'm a nice young man and life is great, I think I'm going to do heroin? No, that doesn't how it happens at all. What happens is, hey, Stephen, you look like a party type of guy. Come on, it's on me.
All right.
You know, have a smoke, have a snort, you know, something like that. You know, come on, you deserve a break today. You're a good guy. It's on me. Let's do it. Think about the credit industry. How do you get started on credit? You're at the furniture store. Hey, zero interest, no payment for 60 days. Come on, you deserve a break today. It's on us this time.
Yep.
Come on. Just sign the piece of paper. You can take the furniture home with you. You can take the car home with you. You can take the diamond ring with you. No payments for 90 days, 120 days. No interest on this loan. So it's the same setup. And then you kind of get involved. You start, you know, doing a little drugs with the buddy who introduced you. And all of a sudden one day he says, hey, man, it's your turn to buy. Yeah, all right. So now you're flipping part of the bill or all the bill. Well, you know, because you're partying a lot and it's costing you a lot of money. So, you know, so what happens when you, in the credit industry? Well, credit industry says, wow, you got that out on the car, you got that out on your credit card, you got that out on the furniture. You know, we're not going to stop lending you money, but it's time that you started paying up a little bit. You're using credit a lot, you're going to have to start paying for it a little bit. So we're going to have to charge you some interest on here. You know, same thing. No big deal, though. Yeah, you're right. We're partying. It's good. Well, the next thing is all of a sudden, you know, you find yourself way over your head to the dealer.
Yeah.
You know, you've been buying drugs, but you've been getting, you know, and the dealer says, hey, you owe me some money.
Yeah.
If you don't pay up, I'm going to break your legs. I'm going to send Bernie over to have a conversation with you.
So pretty much the same as the credit industry.
Well, in the credit industry, they do the same thing, except they don't break your leg. Well, they used to. And certain type of lenders still do, but they're totally illegal. But in the credit industry, they break your financial legs. They ruin your credit score. They report all this stuff. They harass you. They emotionally break you down. They just really tear you up. So if you don't remember anything else, remember, credit is not your friend.
Yeah.
That's the first thing. Secondly, to get out of debt and to stay out of debt, you need to institute the 3 key steps. And all 3 of these are important. This is like that 3-legged stool we talked about last week. Do you remember?
Yeah.
All 3 of these are important. It's almost impossible to take a 3-legged stool and take 2 legs off and sit on it. Or 2 legs. You need all 3 to make it work. So what are they? What are the 3 key steps to escape debt and begin wealth development? Think about this. I didn't mention that, but if you were out of debt, you'd have substantially more cash flows in your life and could actually begin to develop wealth. And again, any one step by itself could cause risk, slow the process, or even cause more debt. People get into debt, and when they try to get out of debt, sometimes they end up in more debt because most of the programs out there that I reviewed hundreds of over the years, believe me, you wouldn't believe the research I did on this 17 years ago even. Most of them only had 1 or 2 of these legs. None of them had all 3. That's why this system is so important, and that's why it's been so successful. So the first key you need to implement is taming the beast. The second key is building a moat around your castle. And the third key is developing your own personal wealth creation system. Well, I guess that's about it.
That's it?
No. Obviously, they need some explanation on this. What is taming the beast? Well, taming the beast is so important because the beast is dead. Think of this huge dragon that you have to tame, you know, and to tame a beast, you really have to understand the beast, what the beast is and how its temperament and its character. You must understand its nature. Let me give you an example. Imagine you had a parakeet in a cage, a big cage, that you could walk into, and you walked in there with a chair and a whip to tame this thing like you would a lion. You know, all of a sudden you got a feather duster, not a bird anymore, right? Yeah. Obviously you overestimated the veracity of this animal. Or imagine the opposite. You walk into a lion chamber and it's like, Oh, birdie, 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 come here. I'm gonna feed you. You're gone.
That's it.
You know, you need to understand the beast, and you need to tame that beast, which means getting it under control, your control, instead of it controlling you. If you're honest with me right now, you would be saying, Mark, it's true. Debt controls me. I don't have the right not to pay this bill. I had made a promise to pay this bill, and they have every legal and they have God's authority to hold me to that. So I've lost control of some or all of my future cash flows because of signing that line. I need to tame that beast and get back control of my cash flows. So let's continue on here. Let's talk about how understanding the nature of the beast. There's actually 3 types of debt. I broke them down into 3 types. I call it balanced, bad, and worse. Let's look at these. First of all, balanced debt. This is a type of debt that has low interest rate, usually is tax deductible and collaterally backed. What kind of debt would this be? Can you think of a type of debt? Can you? How about a mortgage?
Yeah, something that seems safe.
Yeah, a mortgage. You have normally an asset that's equal to or more than your debt. It's tax deductible and usually low interest rate. Usually all of the above. So that would be the most balanced. That doesn't make it good. It just makes it balanced. There's no such thing as good debt. Okay, that's balanced debt. And then there's bad. And this is a type of debt that gets you under its thumb, that starts oppressing you, that starts wearing on you. It's usually non-deductible, usually has higher interest than your balanced, and usually it will be collaterally backed. Can you think
maybe car
loan?
like that?
You nailed it right on it. That's a car loan. You buy a car, you take it off the lot, your car's less immediately, 30% less than what you paid for it, so you have less collateral. If you needed to give it back or sell it, you still couldn't get out of debt. Usually the interest rates would be higher than a mortgage, but I don't know, with the car industry having gone through such disaster, you can get 0% loans, so not always. It's usually non-deductible. Of course, there are ways to deduct your car loan if you have a business and stuff like that, but that's another story. Okay, and then that takes us, let me explain something. Why would a car loan be bad? Everybody says, I love cars, I need a car, we need this kind of. Before I can explain that, let me explain something called unrealized potential. And what unrealized potential is every dollar you acquire, you can choose to spend or invest. What a dollar could have earned had it not been spent and had been invested is called unrealized potential. So every dollar you transfer to a loan company, not for the purchase price, but in interest and charges, what that could have grown to over the life of that loan and your life is what's called its unrealized potential. Let me show you this. Imagine you purchase a new auto every 5 years.
Sounds about right.
A lot of people do, by the way. A lot of people do it every 3 years. And you did that for 40 years, your driving life.
Right.
The first auto may have cost $20,000, and each additional increases by 3% annual inflation. And you finance each auto for 5 years at 8%. Now that's a high interest rate right now, and I know it's a little bit exaggerated, but when I originally did this, that was not high for the auto industry. But just take it for what it is and watch this. The first year you buy a $20,000 car, the interest paid over the 5-year period is $4,332. If you could have earned 8% on that interest over that 5 years, over your lifetime, you would have had $94,104. Now, 5 years later, though, you bought another car, $23,000. Over the lifetime of that, the interest and unrealized potential would have been $74,000. It's less because you have 5 less years, obviously. And if we did this for 30 years, look at what happens here. Buying new cars every 5 years or 4 years, you would have paid an interest and missed the opportunity of $373,267 just from auto loans. That's why it's bad. Imagine what you could have done in your lifetime with $373,267.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's bad debt. And the worst kind of debt, and this is kind of kills you, it just takes you down, because this is when people have to start borrowing for certain things. Non-deductible, high interest, no collateral.
Personally, I'm thinking school loans.
Ooh, school loans would be
Or
one.
Maybe credit cards.
Credit card, signature loans, all those type of store loans, that they're all there. You're absolutely right. And if you think about it, why is this the worst type of debt? Well, remember that illustration we just did with the car? Well, imagine this one. A credit card balance of $3,500 maintained at 12% with no tax consequences on the interest earned or spent could have the following effect on your wealth and potential. 12%, by the way, is very low in today's environment.
Yeah.
So on one hand, we overdid the cars, and this one we're underdoing the credit cards. Let's take a look at this, though. And again, we got to update these numbers a little bit. So here we go. Oh, it went away. I'm sorry, I missed it. What that was showing is the hundreds of thousands of dollars in interest expense and unrealized potential you lose from $3,500. And people say, well, I never keep a balance of 35. No, most people try to pay it down, and then it goes back up and back down and up and down. And that's what happens with most people. But on average, it stays about the same or rises every year. We were being nice by saying just maintains it. So let's continue on, because we only have a little bit of time with you today, and I really wanted to share this with you. The key to taming the beast is putting yourself in control of your cash flows. Stabilizing your current cash flows and improving them by recovering interest expense and payments and being more in control of your cash flow. More money either coming in or less money going out, or a combination of both. So let's take a look at this. See these guys here? What they're doing is they're taking boxes and they're repackaging the contents in the boxes into smaller boxes, or taking the smaller boxes and repackaging content and multiple things into bigger boxes. The whole idea is debt positioning, and it's repositioning your debt to put you in control. You do that what you do is you reposition your debt to be the least harmful and most productive possible. That means it gives you the most control of your cash flow, so you can decide where to put it. You minimize interest rates, you minimize any negative impacts, and you find how to best put it in control. We actually created a calculator to help people do that.
Yeah.
A way to do that. Actually, a spreadsheet that helps people rearrange their debt. The key here is to remember, and this is deep, debt is debt.
Debt.
Right. What does that mean? Well, if you have four $1,000 debts, you have $4,000 of debt. Whether it's all in one package or in four little ones, or four little ones all in one package. Whichever way helps you to maintain the most control over your cash flows. That's what's important. Okay, in the last couple of minutes here, the last key, the second key is build a buffer zone around a moat around your castle.
That's my favorite part.
Yeah, build a moat around your castle. If you think about what was the moat for?
Keep away intruders, keep yourself safe.
Imagine in your household if you had a moat around your house with alligators in it, and a robber drove up the street. Which house would he rob? Yours or somebody else's?
Yeah.
Somebody else's. The moat around your castle when it comes to debt turnaround is liquidity. Pardon the pun. But it's actually having money available when you need it. And somebody's saying, great, Mark, I'm over my head in debt. Every penny I have plus more is going out to maintain my debt, and you want me to start a savings account. Well, we're going to go through this, and then we're going to have to stop because we're already in 17 minutes here. But let me show you what happens with most people. And this, by the way, happened to me, and I call this getting up to broke. Most people who are over their head in debt would love to get up to broke.
Yep.
Meaning they no longer have debt, but they may not have any assets or anything either. So this is what happens. They owe this money, and they start getting out of debt. They start paying down debt aggressively every way they can, selling stuff. And they're doing good, and then all of a sudden the water heater breaks. And mama says, I am not taking cold showers.
Yep.
So they go back into debt. And then but they're not deterred. They start pouring every penny they can into it again, and they're making great progress, even doing better than before. And the air conditioner furnace goes out, and Junior just ran the car into a tree, and they have deductibles. And oh, by the way, tuition is due, and boom, they're back where they started. And this continues all through their life, and they never really get out of debt. Let me show you a better way. What if you were started here, and instead of paying everything you could to debt, you started paying as little as you could on your debt? Oh, I know, I just heard everybody screaming, Mark, I'm a financial guy, Mark, I know better than that, blah, blah, blah. Just stay with me for a minute. And you started putting the money, the extra money, in a savings or investment account, and you started building a foundation below you. And as you're doing okay, it may take a little longer to get to where you were, but then the water heater breaks down, and what happens? Well, you had to use some of the money out of your moat around your castle to pay for that, but you didn't have to go back in debt. So all the progress you made here is kept. And this continues on, and again, the car wreck, all these different things. But as time goes on, the money you're putting in there is creating more money.
Yeah.
And it's the interest is growing on that for you, not against you like it does on the bills. And you're building a platform, a ladder that eventually, even when you have to tap into that, you don't lose the progress of getting out of debt. You don't lose the progress you made. And eventually down the road, you break through and you get up to broke. Now, some people say, well, that'd take a long time, Mark, to do it that way. Sometimes it can. Sometimes it really can. And I would agree with you. But what's worse, a long time or never?
It's true.
Yeah. And once you get out, by the way, you may have a lot of money left in here that's starting the wealth development system that we're talking about. And that's the final key, is developing your own wealth management system. That's a system that helps you stay in control, but makes it simple and automates the debt recovery system, the debt turnaround system. And unfortunately, we don't have enough time to talk about that today, but we'll continue this on next week. Yeah. If you so desire, let us know if you'd like to continue on with this, or if you'd like to find out more about the Debt to Wealth Turnaround Seminar we may be having in the near future, where it would be a half-day seminar and then private coaching at no cost, because this is a ministry.
Yeah.
And we'd be honored to get you on the list for that. Again, I'm Mark Manella.
Stephen Balance.
This is More Than Money, and we're hoping you realize, like we do, and many people who have gone through the debt turnaround system, that life is
so much more
than money. God bless everyone.